It's Sunday, it's January 12th, 2025. I'm in the United States of America with a Federal Reserve note, an ONE, and an In God We Trust. I went to church this morning with my son, and it's Chalk and Bless the Church for Epiphany. It was a special something or other. They changed Sunday school around. It's no longer the same format that it used to be in. Um, in personal news, my mom. Well, this week I started trizepatide um, through the regular medical channels. Again, like the health system is so important. Um, the food system, the medical system is so important, but it's just again, whatever. So, um, my mom bought and made something that she bought in one of the local stores, um, called a chicken pot pie. I think the manufacturer brand was Marie Curie or Marie something or other. Um, I am having such a hard time today. Like, I don't know, like, when you speak of like neurotoxins and like this inability, like it's behind my eyes and it almost feels like it's sitting on the crown of my head. And it's not the first time it's happened. In fact, last week, my mom bought from the local milk farm a pre-prepared meal called it looked like it was made on facility. It was a chicken franchise, and then she made it for all the boys and myself. And again, it doesn't have that high ammonia smell necessarily, or maybe it just hasn't been that long for it to try to detoxify out of my body. But it is like getting hit and having like a helmet of toxicity where like my brain is just not functioning the way that it should. It's not like rapid fire. Like this is really frightening stuff is in whatever's going on in the local market inside of New York. Um, like I don't like at what like where do you go for this level of help? Like who do you involve? Like what system is constructed? And then so in I had to go through my son's folder for school, which again, they're learning about Stuyvesant, they're learning about the Dutch colony, Dutch West India Trading Company. They're learning all of the important things for the area of New York, for whatever educational for the children that was given, like to be passed forward in this. And like again, like it's their standard level of education in the public school. Um, but this local market currently, again, if they're putting something in the food that is causing dementia, I mean, there are rules and regulations to the medical. Like, I don't know what else, I don't know what they're doing. I don't. And going to the local doctors, there's certain things that they'll test for and they'll speak about, and then there's others that they're not talking about. Um, when I was growing up, there was only one space program, one inside the United States of America, one that they ever spoke about, and it was NASA, and it happens to acronym out for like North American Security Apparatus at NASA. And now this morning they have on CNN something called Blue Origin that I had never heard of until recently. Um, like there was no whispers about it in the daily routine. There was nothing in the public school about it. Not then, not now. Um, and what's interesting is this person that comes on, speaking of Blue Origins, has a big X on his shirt embroidered in. One side has the United States of America flag, and the other one, again, is it Russia? Is it France? Is it Netherlands? I can't tell. But it has another three with the band of brothers of whatever flag system they're on. So this is what this looks like. Well, I'm having problems with the food inside of Queens, New York.
Right? And so then always good to have an alternative provider. SpaceX has brought launch costs down dramatically. What used to cost somewhere in the 150 to 250 million dollar range for a rocket to launch a satellite, if you use a reused booster, that cost is around 35 million now. And so if you bring in Blue Origin with a semi-reusable rocket as competition, that'll guarantee that we all get the users, that is, get the lowest possible prices and the highest possible qualities. And so it'll be good to have a second alternative provider to the fully expendable market that has been dominating for decades.
Yeah, we don't know if this will be successful, but if it is, can you tell us what we will see when liftoff happens?
Sure. So you'll see a spectacular launch, as always, from any rocket. You'll see stage separation after probably around 2.5 minutes or so. And
So, like, why? We have one space program. Why did they need multiple space programs? Why in the local area am I feel like I'm being poisoned? And like not on a like, oh, it's a preservative and you might get a few wrinkles. Like no, it's neurotoxicity at a level of it feels like a chemical agent was used to harm the population. Um, so again, I read some of Stuyvesant's law. Um, my son and I go to church every Sunday inside of Queens, New York, on this island, part of a state, part of a country. So really not quite sure, like what or how to protect myself and he. Um, I don't know why at 40 I'm having trouble with mobility. Um, Went back to the gym yesterday. I had to wait for the pink eye to clear up. Um, that somehow he got from civics. He thinks he got it from civics. He just back to back infections through November into December, pneumonia. They said it was Epstein-Barr virus. Then they said it was rhinovirus. I mean, it's like one after the next, after the next. So it was a really bad pneumonia infection as well, which he's still recuperating from. But I took a few weeks off from the gym in order to nurse him and make sure that I wasn't infectious myself. Um, so yesterday was the first day back. I go back to the supermarket at minimum wage for the union. Never been in a union before. Still, like, I go to the building. Like, there's no real communication as to what a union is. They're on the TV. I mean, I see a lot of Canadian license plates in the area, which I've documented. Don't know what that's about. Lots of out of state plates, and like almost to the point where one questions themselves and says, like, are we being invaded by other like states of the union? I mean, it's like that high traffic. It almost feels like a swarm at times. Um, and then there's this. I noticed I went past. I was driving on one of the service roads, and I noticed that the people working in like the union jobs or construction, they weren't even New York. Like they're in Long Island, which is part of New York, but all of their work vehicles had New Jersey on the license plates. And then when the workers went to their vehicles, first of all, the workers don't even look American, but when they went to their vehicles, they had New Jersey plates also. And I'm like, why would New Jersey labor and New Jersey state be working and allowed to work in state of New York, Long Island? Like that makes no sense. Like where does one report that exactly at the In God We Trust? So, there's just a lot going on. I'm trying to help him with his iReadies through whatever New York City was giving them as an education, which, I mean, it is, on one hand, it's an amazing program. Like, I wish I had it when I was a kid, but I'm really struggling with this amount of whatever last night's dinner was carried forward into today. Just this unclear and fogginess, and not I'm not of the scholar or educational level where I can decipher what kind of neurotoxin or poison it is, and I wouldn't even know where to go give a blood sample and how to get into a clinical study of, like, how do we document this in order to prevent it. Like, not even like that hasn't even been made clear as far as like a security function within the state to the residents that live here on Long Island, or at least to my person. I don't know if other people were somehow miraculously kept in the loop of something that I'm not a part of. Um, it's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cateruza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. It's really frightening. And it's like, how do you escape this level of whatever's going on in the periphery? Also, I saw they mentioned on one of the late night shows, there's this show about something called Severance. Apple TV gives out the first episode for free, and then you have to like subscribe or whatever. So I watched the first episode and I'm like, oh, that's a really interesting premise about just waking up somewhere, not knowing where the hell you are, and then somebody wanting to have a conversation with you, and then totally forgetting, like knowing it happened kind of sort of, but in this like twilight sense.